Welcome to the Grab a Hole podcast. I'm your host, Justin S., and I am back alongside my co-host, Damien, who is back also this week after we had to take a week off due to some family emergencies. We were not able to get our episode out last week, but we are here right on time for Saturday night main events prediction week. How are you, man, after having a little two-week, unsuspected vacation?
I feel like I had to do a lot of catching up, so hopefully I am all caught up and can give you guys some good takes today.
Oh, sounds good. Well, if you are watching us, as always, on YouTube, please make sure that you hit the like and subscribe, as we are always trying to grow this channel. We are always trying to continue to make this a thing with more viewers and more people enjoying the conversation that we have involving the wrestling business. And we want it to feel like you're a part of the conversation. So if there's anything that you want to hear us talk about or elaborate on, please feel free to leave something in the comments and we'll bring it up and we'll make sure to shout you out in doing so. Before we get to our predictions, we got to talk about some stuff that's happened that's not related necessarily to Saturday night's main event. As we know that, it's on Peacock, it's a 2-hour event, and there's only 4 matches currently listed, which I don't believe will be more than that. But we got to talk about a few things that are unrelated to that. What I wanted to start with off the top for you is last time we convened and did the podcast, we were talking about the vision and the turn, right? And what happens with the world championship and was Seth really hurt and all those things. Now we know that it is factual that Seth really was hurt and his shoulder is jacked, had to have surgery. And we've had a few weeks now with the vision, sans Seth Rollins. How do you like what they've done, including the promo of handing over the World Heavyweight Championship and making them say please and all that good stuff, and how they've took them out of the Battle Royal, all those good things? Do you think that they've done a solid job post-Seth Rollins injury of continuing to keep the relevancy and make them important?
No, I don't like it. I don't like that they're not in the world title picture. I don't like that Braun Breaker is not wrestling for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think that for them to make the mistake of thinking they have to crown him at WrestleMania is silly, or like at a major event.
Right.
Like the timing is now, right? Like in story, they're saying they took out Seth Rollins.
Right.
They took him out. They turned on him. They took him out. He's the next big thing, So, I would have just had him win the battle royal and go face CM Punk. Use Bronson Reed to help him win, and he's the world champion. And now Punk's got to chase him until WrestleMania or something like that. So, I don't like it, and I don't like how calm like Braun Breaker was acting on Monday. He was just very calm, very just like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Okay, and then
I'll follow what you say. Yeah.
I'll follow what you have to say, and I'll go take care of LA Knight and go along with it. Like he needs to be like the unhinged guy. Like I feel like Heyman should be afraid of him. Like, oh shit, like if I'm not careful with this guy, he's gonna take me out too. So I don't know. I don't like it. I just felt like they're going in a safe direction rather than giving a guy a shot
Right.
that they want to give it to anyways. Like why not give it to him? Let him run with it, and if it doesn't work out, take it off of him at Royal Rumble. Like you know what I mean? Like no big deal. I don't know why they can't just give him a shot.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't dislike it, but I don't love it, if that makes sense. I feel like they've done a good job of making them still feel important without Seth. They did the whole giving the title back and making him say please, and then Pierce, telling Heyman he had to say please to get him in the Battle Royal, and that didn't work. I really like that stuff. This week, him listening to Heyman, I thought was a nice piece of a detail, but them just going, well, now he's going to face LA Knight. To me, you're just sacrificing wins over LA Knight that were unnecessary there. Like, why not have him get mad this week to your unhinged point that him and Bronson weren't in the Battle Royal and them just squash a couple dudes, or have Breaker just squash somebody like real quick, like, and then just beat the shit out of them to make them pay and make a statement that like, we're here, we took out the champion and we plan on taking that belt back and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. But instead, they did the match with LA Knight, and I get the idea that it's by association still, that LA Knight's been in the main event picture for a few months now, and he's been right there, in the mix with these matches at PLE. So, by association, Breaker gets the rub that he's still working with the top guy. I get that, but we talked about it not long ago. is WWE making a mistake by not running with some of these young guys out the gate when you start to see these moments present themselves? Do you feel like, you say you don't like it and that you want to see them run. Do you feel like it's them leaning too much into long-term storytelling, or is it just they're not sure that they can trust him to carry it quite yet?
I don't know what they're thinking. Yeah, I think that they're trying to tell a long-term story, which is what they're trying to set themselves up with here with the main event that they have.
Right.
Well, I don't know if it's the main event with the World Heavyweight Championship match that they have at Saturday night's main event.
Mm.
Um, I don't feel like it's necessary though. Sometimes, like sometimes shit happens and plans get thrown to the side, and you just got to give a guy a shot and go with it and see what happens. I mean, worst case scenario, he does a terrible job. I mean, he's not going to look bad holding the title, right?
Yeah.
He has Paul Heyman speaking for him if you need to.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that this can go bad other than like, oh, people aren't watching.
Right.
Because they feel like they have to have a name like CM Punk at the top of the card.
Mm.
Um, I don't know how this could go bad, so I don't know why they wouldn't give it a shot and just go with it. Um, Honestly, I mean, I'm more upset that LA Knight's not the guy in the match.
Mm.
You know how I feel about LA Knight. I don't feel like he's at the same level as Jay or as Punk or some of these top guys,
Right.
but fans react to him, and I think I would have preferred an LA Knight Braun Breaker like storyline for the title. You know what I mean? I would have
Fresh
preferred
match.
LA Knight. I would have preferred LA Knight getting his chance because listen, like if they're gonna do long-term storytelling, he's never gonna end up with the title.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's like he's already over 40, right? It's not like he's a young guy. He's in his 40s. I mean, what is he gonna wait 2, 3 years to get that chance finally? I mean, I guess he could be around for that long, but why not give it to him now and let Braun Breaker chase him until the Royal Rumble or something like that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then remove Punk and remove Jay from the picture. I would have preferred something like that.
Do you feel like there's anything in this that it's almost a two birds game where like you get, because people, obviously they accomplished what they were trying to accomplish at SummerSlam, right? Seth is the surprise. He's not hurt. Punk wins the title, but he has it for 5 minutes. So he can say he's the world champion, but he doesn't really get a run. Now that Seth is hurt, the end game is still to get Breaker the title, but it's to make people happy and give them the feel good that Punk's the champion for a little bit, even if it only is to Survivor Series. That's at least a month or 3 weeks to run with that, and then you have Breaker squash him. And if it's not going to be, Survivor Series because of War Games, then like you said, the Rumble, right? You have him beat him at the Rumble, and then you go from there. They just did a promo package that was teasers and stuff, and it turned out to be for WrestleMania 42. And the poster or picture with the video of them all playing cards at a high roller table was 4 guys that didn't include any young people. You had a guy in Roman who is the guy, so to speak. You have Cody, who's the guy right now. And then you had Brock, who we saw at, WrestlePalooza, who showed up and then disappeared. And then you had Punk, who's, been around. He's in the championship match Saturday, but he's not a guy who's a young guy that you go, oh, okay, I get what their selling point is here. Like, you literally had 4 guys and one of them in Brock who disappears, and the other guy who's easily a part-timer in Roman now, he's been gone for a while again. And that's who you're using to push your biggest event of the year in Las Vegas again?
Yeah, why not put Braun Breaker in the poster with
Yeah,
those
like,
other 4
especially
guys?
after what
Like,
just happened. He's relevant.
oh, like Braun Breaker is on the same level as these guys. Like they put him on the poster. Like
Yeah.
what? Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I feel like I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they're thinking as far as what they think the numbers have to be for the Saturday night's main event match.
Mhm.
But you can't. You're telling me that Punk versus LA Knight wouldn't have been just as good a draw as Punk versus Uso?
Right.
Because I just feel like whatever stories that they were planning on telling with Punk and whatever stories that they were planning on telling with Uso are going to be sped up now, and they're almost going to fall flat regardless of who wins this match on Saturday night.
I feel like if you go with Jay, and we'll talk about this a little bit later when we get to the prediction, but I feel like if you go with Jay, you could be running into some trouble if you don't do exactly what everybody hopes you're going to do.
So the question is the story going to move away from the vision? Like, are they going to completely move away from the world heavyweight title picture
Right.
for the, until they're ready to put him back into it? Or are they going to go after Jay? Or are they going to go after Punk? Like, I
Well,
could see them more going after Punk, right?
right.
But if it's Jay, I feel like they would pivot in a completely different direction and remove them
Right.
from the world title picture.
Well,
So I don't know what they're thinking.
let's put a pin in that, and we'll come back to that
Okay.
because I have something that goes with that, and when
All
we
right.
get to predictions. So let's move on to somebody who is an up and comer and who's had a couple good weeks here lately, Maxine Dupree. Her and Becky Lynch fighting for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. She's picked up, couple wins that you go, "Oh, well, hey, a win's a win," and Becky's been frustrated with this. To me, this is what the Women's Intercontinental Championship should be about. That you have somebody who's established. You don't have to be, like, upper level like Becky every time, but it helps, and you have somebody who's been learning and clearly been getting reps in, whether you see it on TV or not. She has a good showing. She has a veteran that can lead her in Becky. And I mean, you can't argue that she's not showing progress. She's showing good things. And this is where you go, oh, now we really see, like, could she upset her? Like, could we see an upset and then they move Becky in a different direction? Now you're giving us a reason to think, well, she don't got to have the title and they don't got to make it a main thing. I like it. Kudos to Maxine Dupree for getting better and showing it. And I hope they continue to use this to build the Women's Intercontinental Championship and that SmackDown takes some cues from this and they do something with that United States title because they haven't done a damn thing with it since Julie has become the champion.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't like it.
No?
No, I mean, I like Maxine Dupree. I think, like you said, she's improving. She's gotten a lot better. Um, but I don't believe her as somebody that can beat Becky Lynch, right? Like, I don't believe that she can take the title off of her and carry the title and be kind of like the top of that division, the Intercontinental division. I would have preferred to see her pulling some upsets against other people,
Mm,
right? Like she's getting in the ring with, I don't know who I know everybody's busy with something. She's getting in the ring
yeah.
with Kyrie Sane and getting some, pulling out a win there, like a roll up win or some sort of a pinning combination. Then she gets a match with like Roxanne Perez and she gets some sort of a winning combination.
Mm,
Just any of the heels on that show. And then she's won a few matches and now, okay, let's put her up against Becky, right? And then she gets squashed. I think like she did in one of the matches.
mhm,
And then she says, "You know what? I want another chance. Like I wasn't ready for it." And then she comes back. She gets the count out win, or she gets the DQ win.
mm.
And then they say, "Okay, you know what? Let's give her another title shot now." And now maybe you built something. I don't like that they went straight to Becky without building her up with other wins
In between.
elsewhere. Yeah.
I think that's what makes it credible, though. It's a good underdog situation where she could shock her, where it would be a surprise to everybody, so it makes you think maybe you kind of overthink the thing and go, "Oh, maybe." And then on top of that, like I kind of feel like in my mind, there's something there that people saw where she started, what she's done, and they've gotten behind her and Otis with the Alpha Academy stuff and Tozawa, and then it kind of just petered out and went away, but they still like her and they like what she's doing. And there's almost this like organic groundswell Sami Zayn type shit as far as the underdog part goes for her. So when I see her with Becky, that's what I think of is like, she might be able to shock somebody. She might be able to pull this off. Like she's gotten better. And if she doesn't, for whatever reason that they continue to leave the belt on Becky and they don't want her, they don't feel like she's ready or whatever, then that's the case. You go, well, she busted her ass and now she's got to come back and work her way back to that. And then you let her do that and it builds that up again. So
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, I don't see Becky moving into the world heavyweight title picture anytime soon.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like what they're doing. I don't like the idea of her winning.
Mhm.
If she comes up short, if it's a Rocky story
Yeah.
where she goes the distance, she like almost gets some close pinning combinations, and at the very end, she just loses a close one. Then, but she looks better for it. I kind of prefer that better. And then maybe they revisit this like down the line when they're ready to move Becky into the world title picture,
Right.
rather than having Becky lose. Unless Becky wants to lose, unless she wants to go home and take care of her husband. I don't know.
Right.
Unless that's the plan. Unless she said, you know what, he's going to be home. He's going to need help. Let me go home and spend some time with him. At least post surgery and until he can move around by himself. I don't know. Maybe That would be the only way I could see it is if she's blown away. But if she's gonna lose, and then kind of just hang around in the mid card, I don't know if that makes sense.
What do you think about Becky's promo with Heyman 2 weeks ago? About him talking about, "I'll make sure that you wish you were, wish you were dead."
I liked it. I liked what she had to say.
Can you hear my son yelling in the background?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if he liked it.
No, he did,
But
he's yelling with his brother, he's running around, I can hear him.
um, I liked her promo. I don't like the idea of Punk coming back face, and then when he does come back
You
face
mean
and Becky
Seth?
joins or Seth, yeah, I don't like that idea. I didn't like the decision making to have them turn on Seth,
Yeah,
and that way he goes away and he comes back and he gets that sympathy and he comes back a conquering hero to take out the Vision. I don't like that storyline. I would have preferred something where somebody else maybe injured him,
right.
and now the Vision is um, fighting in his honor or something like that, and to defend his honor rather than taking him out, because I don't like the idea of him coming back as a face at all. I mean,
Yeah, no, I don't either.
he's
He's
just
not
such
very
a better
good.
heel.
Yeah,
He I hate to say it, I like the guy. Obviously, I think he's great, but as his character is just as is more of a natural heel. As a
yeah.
face, it kind of almost falls flat.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm hoping I'm a little disappointed with that going back. But so that's why I liked Becky's promo. I didn't like what it might lead to, where it's going to be a Seth and Becky versus the Heyman
Vision Group.
guys, Vision rivalry when he comes back finally.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. And other women, the women's world heavyweight champion, Stephanie Vacquer, helping out Nikki Bella against Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. 2 weeks in a row, they've been involved helping each other out now. We know that on the card for Saturday night's main event that they're going to have the women's WWE championship on there. So is this, since it was so heavily featured to get to the vacant championship, do you think like this is their way of kind of taking the focus off of it until Survivor Series?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they need to push her title reign a little bit and give her. I like what they're doing with it. I like that they're giving her like a Roxanne.
Mhm.
She's gonna have to go through Raquel at some point.
Right.
And now she's, so they can do a tag team match. They can do some one-on-ones, and they can have Nikki take some pins to make, the Judgment Day women look a little more credible, like they're ready to go for a title. And I like that they can use that story. They can use that for a couple of months, maybe leading into the Royal Rumble
Mhm.
and into WrestleMania season. So
Right.
I like it. I
Mm,
like what they're doing with that.
okay. We mentioned earlier the women's U.S. title being basically non-existent. They've used her in tag team matches with Kiana James, but nothing of any seriousness or story that makes sense that is, happening with the women's championship of, well, the U.S. version of it, of any relevance since Chelsea Green's had it. I mean, if we're being honest, Zelina
Yeah.
was a cool thing, but they didn't do enough with it. She's doing something different with her husband now. You put it on Julia, everybody was excited, myself included, and then they just were like, well, congratulations, you now got to carry a belt through the airport.
I thought she was going to be like a workhorse type champion. I
Yeah.
thought they would keep her busy and use her to keep pushing that division forward. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, I'm a huge Julia fan. I used to talk about how much aura. I mean, she just has aura when she's around,
Mhm.
and so you know, I was hoping to see her more. So I was thinking about this, and it feels like even with with Julia, and then even with some of the tag teams on SmackDown, I feel like they've been hurt by them going back down to 2 hours.
Oh, you think so?
You know, yeah, I know 3 hours felt long. Like
Yeah.
it was a tough watch on a Friday night to go 3 hours. But don't you think, like, Raw found the sweet spot at, like, 2.5 hours? Like,
Yeah.
don't you think that, like, SmackDown could be like, "Hey, USA, like, we wanna go 2.5 hours,
Right.
and then give us some 30-minute infomercial to follow us afterwards."
Right.
Like, I don't I don't understand why it's gotta be 2 or 3. Like,
Yeah.
so
Why
I
can't?
feel
Yeah.
like, you know, so I don't know. I feel like time, that is needed to get her on screen. It's 2 hours, not 3 now. So maybe they need to do something. I mean, if they're gonna have, you know, 2 men's titles and 2 women's titles, and then a tag team title, and then a women's tag team title floating on a 2-hour show, they need to probably give them more time. I don't think 2 hours is enough.
Right. Uh, Sticking with the women, the main event of Raw this week was women. It was the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Charlotte and Alexa Bliss took on Bayley and Lyra. Um, One, what did you think of this being the main event? And two, how do you feel like they've handled the Bayley schizophrenic character?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it as a main event, but it makes you wonder why Braun Breaker wasn't in the main event again. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like this is Braun Breaker, LA Knight. I mean, that screams main event to me.
Mm,
Okay, like don't get me wrong, Charlotte and Alexa and Bailey. Not to take anything away from Steph, not Becerra, but what's her name? Not Stephanie Becerra. What's the other woman in the match? Lyra Valkyria.
yeah.
My bad. Not to take anything away from her, even though I totally diss her right now. But those 3 women are main event material. They've been in that scene for a long time, so I had no problem with that. I mean, I had no problem with the match at all, but I was just shocked that it wouldn't be like Braun Breaker versus LA Knight in that spot.
Yeah. No, I
The women are doing a good job. I like the stories that they're telling with the women all across the board. It feels like, other than the U.S. Championship, it feels like they're doing something to tell stories.
right.
The Bailey's schizophrenia story, it's a little weird to me. And then they threw us a little nugget there at the end of the match with the Kabuki Warriors kind of attacking everybody but leaving Bailey alone.
Yeah.
Kind of like, makes you wonder if they're like, "Hey, come back to us. Like we're crazy too. You can be crazy with us."
Right.
Um, so I like what they're doing because you have no idea what's really going on with her.
I I feel like it didn't need to be spooky, but it needed to be more serious. And I feel like they got away from a lot of that. And so because of that, she kind of went extreme with some of the behavior until you get to the in-ring stuff. And then it was like, oh, okay, like this stuff is solid. So it was like, okay, she's going flipping back and forth in the ring. But there, to me, some of the problem is there hasn't been any backstory as to what triggers her into flipping in and out of these different range of emotions and crazy. So is it physicality? Is it something that's said? Is it something that's in her own head when she feels something in the like it's just, well, she's crazy now that she hasn't won in a while, and so now she's going to be crazy with the girl that's supposed to be cool with her. Like I feel like they've kind of fumbled this a bit, and that whether that has to do with how they've booked it or how she's playing the part, I'm not sure, because I've had a hard time with her for a while about like she's not, as a good guy, she's not like, she's almost too likable to be like, oh, like I have sympathy and stuff for you, like, and then when she's a bad guy, she's too nice to be a bad guy almost. So it's like I don't like, she's kind of stuck. And I thought this would freshen up her character. I thought there would be more to this. And I thought if they played it a little more serious, where it was like, she's at her wit's end. She's so upset and so like over all of this stuff that she's talking to herself. Not necessarily that she's having conversations out loud as a secondary or third person, but that she's speaking to herself out loud, like looking in the mirror going, you're so dumb. Why are you not better than this? Or why are you still losing to people like this? You're the champion. You're a WrestleMania main eventer. You're a Royal Rumble winner. Whatever, like taking it like that rather than being like the traditional cartoon or wrestling crazy, so to speak. So it misses something for me there. I like the main event. I thought it sucked that they did the Kabuki Warriors finish with them interfering. I thought they could have been just fine if they would have had a real finish. They were killing it, I thought. Um, and I feel like WWE does this. That we saw this on SmackDown previously, right? Like with Tiffany, when it was Tiffany and Nia, and then Jade was involved at one point, and then there was other people involved, where it was like they were getting main events on SmackDown regularly for, a stretch of time, and they were killing it. And then they just kind of went away and faded away. And now it's like they flip-flopped. Like SmackDown doesn't have, anything going on outside of the one thing. And even that is kind of so-so. We'll get to that here momentarily. But on the other side of things with Raw, like you said, you got the Kabuki Warriors who are in this story with Io. You have Rhea who is doing something with Io as her friend, but they're trying to figure out what's next for her. You got Lyra and Bailey doing their thing. You got Charlotte and Alexa bouncing around to shows and dealing with even including NXT talent. So they're doing a good job of involving women on Raw, but I feel like the women on SmackDown are getting forgotten. Like all Chelsea Green is doing is walking around recruiting people to be her new, bodyguards. Like,
and getting mistaken for an escort in New York.
yeah. So that being said, I mean, the report that I saw today is back in January. It just came out now, but back in January, she signed a new 5-year deal with WWE. So she's not going anywhere for the time being.
Chelsea Green.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, I mean,
she's earned it.
But she's earned it for sure. And you could always at any moment just put the briefcase on her. She's a perfect, briefcase champion.
I want to bring this up because this has been so women heavy, and then we'll get to predictions. And this is AEW related, not WWE related. We've talked about momentum. We've talked about stars, like, levels and all this stuff. Clearly somebody in the AEW, whether it's Tony Khan or, the people around him, they all believe that Mercedes Monet is, top bill for everything. She currently holds, I believe it's like 13 or 14 belts. One of them, not even one that can be defended because it's for the Owen Hart Cup. So it's not a real title. It's for a tournament. And there's been a lot of tribalism derived out of the way that she's been booked, the way that this has been put on. And it got pointed out on a podcast this morning that I didn't realize. She recently broke Ultimo Dragon's record for holding the most belts at one time. And she was at AEW's Wrestle Dream and originally wasn't booked for a match, where they decided to kind of have a quote unquote impromptu match with Mina Shirakawa, who was the interim women's Ring of Honor television champion. And they had her break the record there because the next night she went to somebody's independent show in another country and got another belt. So AEW had to make sure she broke the record on their television, on their pay-per-view, which makes business sense, right? But now she's, like I said, she's got 13, 14 belts, whatever it is. And this has caused a lot of people online to either totally turn against the wrestling community, if you're against this and don't believe that she's the best thing since sliced bread, or you're on the other side of the aisle where you think that this is ridiculous at this point. So knowing this and seeing some of the things that you've seen of her in WWE and bits and pieces in AEW, I don't feel like you have any bias in this situation with her. So what is your opinion of having her win 15 fucking belts all over the world and then not having her win the AEW women's world title as a result of that? She's the TBS champion. She's getting a title match at their next pay-per-view, but she's not currently the champion. What is your opinion on all of this?
Yeah, would you rather win 15 AAA championships or one World Series?
One World Series, not close.
I think it looks silly. I think it looks stupid.
To be clear, you meant AAA as in farm system, not AAA the promotion.
AAA baseball, yes.
Yeah.
Well, same thing.
Kind of. It is now.
It's the minors.
Yeah.
I think it looks silly. It looks stupid. I mean, it's unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessary to making her look important. I think making her look important is having her be your top champion and having her only defend it like at every PLE, right? And then it's like a big deal when she performs.
Right.
Her going around and just wrestling for another belt. Who cares? Like, who cares? She went and won an indie belt on the indies. Yeah. So what? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're trying to establish here with her. She's clearly, I mean, she was great. She's a great wrestler. She's never been to me compelling to watch.
Mhm.
You know, she's never been somebody that I felt like I had to watch. She never did a good job of hooking me with her stories, with her promos.
Mhm.
I was always a fan, and she always, put on great matches, but I was never hooked by anything she did.
Right.
Um, Same thing now. Like, I mean, I don't watch AEW, but knowing that she has 15 titles or whatever,
Yeah.
13 titles doesn't make me want to go watch and see what she's going to do next. Because what they're telling me is she's just going to go win another title, another match.
Well, I think
That means nothing.
to me, and this is my perspective, I don't dislike her. I
Yeah,
don't
me
think that
neither.
she's terrible. But there's a lot of people that believe that if you don't agree with her being booked like this, that you must hate her and that she's doing a good thing as a heel and that's getting her heat. It's not dissimilar to the tribalism that you would see with the Young Bucks in early AEW or John Moxley now, that people are like, he's epic. And dude, I shit you not. I don't know if you saw this quote. He was quoted as being compared to Harley Race recently.
But
I,
okay, I can't speak on that. I didn't see Harley Race. I know the lore that comes with
yeah.
Harley Race. I can't tell you. I'll tell you what. Shohei Ohtani's better than Babe Ruth.
Okay.
Said, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
Moxley's probably better than Harley Race.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Listen,
why not? But I know what you're trying to say.
he's not driving town to town smoking cigarettes with a case of whiskey in the back seat, if that's what we're talking about. You know what I mean?
I mean, these guys these days are in better shape. They're better
Yeah.
physically fit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I know what you're trying to say. Like, he's not, but his lore isn't there yet, right? The lore's not there. Like, he doesn't have that. It's, I
The,
get it.
the things he does in these matches
Well,
happen.
I'm not a fan of his
No,
matches.
no, but they happen so often that the things he does are not shocking anymore necessarily, or you have to go to at nauseum a length of something that is so extreme that you have to go, wow, they went that far to top that, to where you're going to have to draw a line at some point. And it's not dissimilar to Mercedes. That when I look at 12, 13, 14, whatever the number is of titles that she has, which one should be the most important out of all of them? The one that she has for AEW, right? The TBS championship.
The one that's paying her the most money.
Yeah. So if AEW is the company you're contracted to, and that's supposed to be, you know, the pony that's running the race for you out here, bringing you the most cash, nobody can tell me who the fuck she beat for those other championships. Nobody can tell me who the other promotions are more than like Rev Pro, because Will Ospreay made that one famous. Unless you're just an indie junkie wrestling wise, which is fine if you are. But there's a lot of this whole like, she's epic and she's an all timer because she has this many belts. Listen, again, I don't hate her. I don't hate her work. But to think that what she's done has made the TBS championship more important isn't true. That's not true. And isn't that supposed to be the idea, is that you work for this company and you make that company's championship that much more important? They're not showing video packages on Dynamite or Collision about her being in other places. They showed MJF and Mystico for the CMLL championship and everything that fucking MJF did, walking out with the American flag, walking out with a dude who looked like Uncle Sam, like all this stuff. And they promoted that. So why wouldn't they promote her in that same way? That I don't understand. You're not going, this is Mercedes Monet, TBS champion, AEW superstar, and she went over here and beat so-and-so. So let's show you some video of so-and-so doing a good job and having good matches, and then her being that person. Instead, she shows up on Dynamite. It's like Goldberg's streak. This week, he was 71-0, and next week he comes back and he's 105-0. And you're like, there was 30 matches last week? It's a lot like that. She shows up and they're like, how many? Does she have more belts? And you're like, oh yeah, 2 more. She was in South Africa this week, and then she was in Vietnam last week and won for the promotion there. It's like, what?
I mean, I understand the AEW tribalism. Trust me, I was a fan, and I was hoping
Right.
that AEW would be an alternative for me to watch. Like, I like the idea of there being competition. Like, I mean, I think one of the funnest things of the Monday Night Wars was not knowing who was going to show up on what show.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like if WWE, builds up these guys and to the point where they become free agents and now they got to have a bidding war and we don't know who's going where, and then they show up on the other company's television show, like it's a huge deal, right? Like it
Right.
feels important. Same thing with guys, I'm sorry, but like there have been guys, obviously there's so much talent that was in AEW and there was
Yeah.
that came over to WWE and they feel like a bigger deal in WWE
Right.
because of the way that they're being pushed or the way that they're being presented.
Right.
Um, so I mean, Mercedes Monet, she she doesn't feel like a big deal to me. Maybe it's because I'm not watching,
Right.
but I see the stuff online. I see it doesn't make me want to tune in.
Let me ask you
It
this.
doesn't. It's not compelling to me.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel like fandom can cloud your vision? If you're a fan of somebody, does that cloud your vision of how good they either actually are or how good they're being presented versus what that actually looks like?
Well, I suppose, especially if you're a delusional fan.
Because I feel
I
like
mean,
that some of those fans are like, if you look at a Young Bucks match, we talked about this, being a fan of early AEW. I was a fan of the Bucks in the Bullet Club, in New Japan, and Ring of Honor, the real Ring of Honor. I loved all that. But if I put on the DVD that I have sitting behind me of the Young Bucks, 95% of that match from 2014 is identical to one of their matches that you're going to watch on Dynamite or Collision this week. They didn't evolve. They didn't. And I feel like there's some parts of that where there's fans of them or other wrestlers that because they go, well, it's AEW and it's different and you don't get it. It's supposed to be punk rock. Like, you're just not, if you're WWE only, then you don't get it. And that's fine if that's what you think.
yeah,
That's not necessarily true.
yeah, because we all know those people that love like underground hip hop, and they swear to God that these underground rappers are the greatest things since sliced bread. And
Yeah,
and I'm sitting here like, dude, if they were that good, they wouldn't be underground; they'd be mainstream.
right. True.
Like you can like them, and I like them. Like
Right,
I mean, I don't know. I consider E40 to be mainstream, but everybody would consider him like an underground rapper.
right,
I always loved E40, but don't make me pick and choose against them. Like I don't want to
right.
do that, and that's what
And,
these people are doing.
and I
They're
feel
making me like resent. Like I can't dislike something without being a fucking hater. Like
exactly,
you know what I mean? I don't like it.
exactly.
We come on here and we talk about WWE all the time and not liking what's going on, and we
Yeah,
say it, and it's okay. But we say it about AEW, and now we're fucking haters.
yeah,
Like you can't have it both ways. Like, listen, the same way that this person loves Mercedes Monet, it's okay for us to say we think she's fine.
yeah. It's just
Like she's good. Like
I don't get
I'd love to see her do something more compelling.
and I got a feeling it's about to get way worse because Chris Statlander is who they had beat Tony Storm for the women's world title last month, and now
Mhm.
Mercedes is getting that title shot. And last time she fought Tony and lost. I don't see her losing to Statlander. Not after winning all this. To have her lose a second world title match and to have all these belts doesn't seem to make sense.
But here's the problem. Now you have all the belts.
You got to lose them.
Now you gotta start losing them
Yeah.
one by one.
Yep. Or,
Unless you're like, oh, okay, now I'm the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. I'm going to relinquish all
yeah,
these belts.
then you look like a
and
giant
now you just
shit.
and now you just diminished them because you didn't want to put anybody over
Yep.
as you gave them back the way that they put you over.
You're like, I got what I wanted. Here you go.
It's a stupid thing, right? It's stupid, but that's professional wrestling. You win the belt from somebody, that person's putting you over.
Right.
So which means is ideally you want to return the favor at some point to somebody else and lose that belt to put that person over as well.
Right.
By relinquishing all these belts, you're not doing anybody any favors other than yourself.
Fair enough.
And that's not the way the business works.
Right. Well, let's get to the talk of this week, which is predictions for Saturday night's main event. These are in no particular order, as always. There's only 4 matches. We'll get to them straight away. Leading off, we got the ladies for the WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany versus Jade. We just saw this last week. Jade decided that she's a bad guy now and that she's a heel. I don't know if people feel enough sympathy for Tiffany to give a shit, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Jade. I want to see something different. I feel like this Tiffany thing has gone stale. she needs to come back as an asshole and be bitter about all of this and go back to being a heel. She's better as a heel right now until she develops some better qualities as a babyface to make people sympathetic and make people want to root for her. She needs to lose, make Jade the champion, and run with that, and let's see what we can do. Even if it's not great, I'd rather see that than any more Tiffany as champion currently.
Yeah, I'm ready for that bitch show
Okay,
on USA.
fair enough.
Jade's gonna win. I mean, she's 0-2 against Tiffany. She's not gonna go 0-3, especially after turning heel.
Mhm.
She's gonna win. I guess I don't like the fact that it had to be as a heel. I thought that SummerSlam, the build for her to win at SummerSlam was perfect.
Mhm.
Her winning the Queen of the Ring
Right,
and earning the number one contendership, and I mean, I guess not the storyline wasn't perfect. I remember thinking it was clunky. I didn't like how they got, but as far as for Jade is concerned, right, building her through Queen of the Ring to getting that big moment at SummerSlam, that would have been the perfect spot.
right.
Um, I mean, I don't know why they couldn't have done that. Have her maybe lose it, in a rematch with Tiffany, and now she is pissed about that, and now she turns heel, right?
Right.
And then, so I hope that she plays a little bit different of a heel character than she did in AEW. I wasn't a big fan of that. I know I just made a joke about that bitch show, but
Mhm.
I didn't like that she always said that.
Yeah.
Um, so her as a heel champion, dominant champion, I think is the right look. I think it needs to be a squash. Though I think it needs to be
Just
for this
domination.
to be really impactful. I think she needs to come out and just dominate her for like 5, 6, 7 minutes,
Okay.
rather than like some sort of a 50-50 match that she just pulls out in the end. I
Okay.
really feel like she needs to dominate this match, even if it's for a long time.
Fair enough. Next up, we got your boy Penta taking on Rusev and the double campeonato, Dominic Mysterio, for the Intercontinental Championship here. He thought he was slick. El Grande and his homies get involved. It winds up now being a triple threat.
Nobody ever learns. Nobody ever learns. It doesn't work.
Nope. So now here
DQ
we are
finishes
again.
only lead to triple threat matches.
That's right. They haven't
That
figured out that if you
I would have expected better out of Dominic. Like he would have known. He should have known, based on his pedigree, that getting the double DQ or the no contest was going to lead to a triple threat. Like
right.
I don't understand. Like have them take one person out, and that way you only get one person in your match.
That's right.
Unbelievable! What a huge mistake by Dominic.
Is this the time to take the Intercontinental Championship off him and let him focus on the Mega Championship? Who's your winner?
Dominic's going to win.
You got Dom retaining?
I think he's got to go into Survivor Series into
In
San
San
Diego
Diego?
with. I think he's got to go into that the champion. I heard on another podcast. I like to listen to the Getting Over podcast, which is kind of affiliated with CBS Sports. And I liked what they said about maybe. I don't know if I'd like the chance of a John Cena match.
Mhm.
That's what they're kind of saying. Tell a story of a John Cena match, which is something I've heard a lot of places. I don't know if I agree with that
Yeah.
necessarily. Because I do want to see Cena play the hits. Like I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if I necessarily want to see him wrestle somebody out of nowhere,
Right.
like Dominic, even if it is for the quote unquote title that he's never won.
Yeah.
But the idea that they came up with that I liked was a Dominic versus whoever, Dominic Say versus Penta.
Yeah.
The Grande Americanos interfere, but then here comes Rey Mysterio's music hitting in San Diego,
For his return.
Booyaka Booyaka,
Right.
for his return to help even the odds, and he takes those people out, and now you got Penta or Rusev, or probably Penta, I'd say,
Right.
winning that match in San Diego. That's what I would prefer. Something like that. I think that's a great story. That's a great idea, a great booking there, but not with John Cena in the match. So I would save Mysterio for SummerSlam. So I think he's going to win.
You mean Survivor Series?
Yes.
I thought the same thing. Dom for San Diego. I thought the same thing. I've heard the Cena thing a couple different times. I don't like it either. But I think you can get some quality in the same way if Penta walks into San Diego, the Intercontinental Champion, and Dom invokes his rematch at Survivor Series.
Title versus title?
Potentially. Or if nothing else, you have, because he's, the feud's been with Vikino, right, in AAA about the mega title. So he shows up to help Penta against the Americanos or something to that nature. So I'm going to go with one of the underdogs. I'm going to go with Penta. So I hope And coming off of, and I don't know if you noticed this, but this last weekend, Halloween Havoc for NXT, they had 3 title changes. So Blake Monroe wins her first title as the North American Women's Championship. We saw that, what were the other 2? Jesus, now I can't think. I'm blanking out. Tatum Paxley winning the women's title from JC Jane, and Dr. Wagner Jr. and Ethan Page had a hell of a crazy match too. So I feel like if you can get excited for NXT like that, you'll be even more excited if WWE were to pull that on the main roster with what this card is, and we'll talk about that here momentarily. But I'm going to go with an underdog. I'm going to go with Penta.
Boy, we've only gone through 2 matches, but based on our predictions from 2 matches, your predictions, we're going to have 3 title changes, 3 new champions coming out of Saturday night's main event.
Potentially.
Well, potentially based on because
So,
the next match is going to be a new champion.
So the next match, we got Cody and Drew for the WWE title. One of the things I want to ask, because every match listed is a title match, do you feel like they've booked this way intentionally because we're not going to get that same thing at Survivor Series? Because there's going to be too many champions involved with War Games, or fingers crossed, they bring back their traditional Survivor Series matches?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that there's not going to be that many title matches at Survivor Series.
Yeah. Well, we got Cody and Drew. They've been going back and forth. We've seen Drew best Cody. We've seen Cody fired up for the first time in a long time. They cooled him off pretty quickly because of the Street Fighter movie after he beat John at SummerSlam. And then, they kick him headfirst in the table and he goes away to finish doing all that stuff. And now he's back. Do you feel like it would make sense to move on from Cody and go to Drew for a little while? Or does Cody wind up retaining and we keep moving?
I think it would make sense to move on from Cody and let Drew have a little run here, but I just don't see this many title changes, so I can't buy it yet. I think Drew should get it from Cody at some point, whether it's at Survivor Series or maybe at the Royal Rumble. I think it needs to happen.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say Cody retains, but I don't know. I don't want him holding this until WrestleMania. I don't.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I'm ready for some fresh matchups. I think part of honestly, I haven't been as tuned into the product over the last couple of months, and it's because it's the same guys on top.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready. Like I want to see Braun Breaker, even LA Knight, who I'm not the biggest fan of at the top of the card. I want to see Drew McIntyre defend, as world heavyweight champion or world champion, and let Cody go do stuff without the title. It can still be impactful. I mean, I'm ready for it, but I'm gonna say Cody for now, and then hopefully. I don't know how they get to a War Games match by Thanksgiving. That's 4 weeks away.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get to a War Games match unless you just throw some shit together. I feel like maybe they decided to go away from it, but we'll see what they do. But for now, Cody wins.
I'm going to go Cody also. I just feel like he hasn't done enough since he won the title for them to be like, no, it's fine. Let's move on and go with Drew. Like, if he would have been wrestling and not gone away for the movie, I would have said, well, it's possible. But his only major fight was Cena, and then everything just kept moving with Drew, and it was like, well, he's here and he's not here, and he's here and he's not here because of the movie. So I think Cody wins, and this goes forward, and you could see some other stuff with War Games with the two of them that doesn't involve the title one-on-one.
I honestly would have preferred the battle royal that Jey Uso won to be like a co-branded battle royal, and then
so
Drew
whoever
McIntyre won it.
Yeah.
And then Drew McIntyre, you know what I mean? Like Drew McIntyre being the world heavyweight champion.
Right.
I thought would have been, something pretty cool. Like, I think he deserves that spot. I think obviously he deserves that moment to win a championship in front of a crowd,
right,
and then hold it, and not be cashed in on immediately.
Right.
So, I'd like to see him have a run in front of people, a title run in front of people.
So the last match for the vacant World's Heavyweight Championship, Jey Uso versus CM Punk. As we know, Uso won the Battle Royal. He's been beefing with his brother. They supposedly patched that up by the end of Raw. We've seen the whole deal of him kind of feeling like maybe he's, getting disrespected and We could see a heel turn on the horizon. I'm kind of torn because there's some thoughts in my head about where this goes with Jay. So I'm going to go ahead and say, based on what we mentioned earlier, I said put a pin in this, and this is why. What they do with Jay is going to be important, regardless of the outcome. What people are hoping for is to see him do some sort of Roman Reigns-esque tribal chief type story, which is fine. But it's got to be dependent on him just losing his shit if he loses and being now punch drunk, power hungry, where he doesn't see the forest for the trees as the champion. So I think that you can go either way and get something out of Jay with this, but I don't think that's the same for Punk. Because, like you said a little bit ago, it makes more sense that Breaker and the Vision are chasing Punk than it does Jay. Now, there is I know people are going to say, well, Roman's got unfinished business with the Vision and this and that's who lost was the tag match and this and that. But I think that's a good way to occupy them and keep them away from Punk for a little bit to get us to the Rumble. So I'm going to go with Punk. Who's your prediction in this one? And we'll talk about Jay and what that looks like when you're done.
I'm going back and forth on this because I don't really like either choice. Like I said, I think both choices are great in a vacuum. Like okay, like Punk is your champion, Jay is your champion, great.
Yeah.
But the fact that they had these like storylines being long-term stories being told with those two, and then all of a sudden they're thrown into the world title picture is going to make any win that they have right now feel hollow. It's going to really fall flat, right? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everybody's going to know, like, well, this Punk moment wasn't supposed to happen until WrestleMania.
Later. Yeah.
You know, this Uso moment wasn't supposed to happen until I don't know, maybe never, or maybe the Royal Rumble or later. It was later, right? Like Seth Rollins wasn't going to carry this title until WrestleMania.
Right.
Um, so it's going to fall flat. Like I still want, I know Punk won again at SummerSlam. He held the World Heavyweight title, but the moment was ruined right away by Seth Rollins, right? His moment, right? So he hasn't had that moment, the crowning moment as world champion, and then he gets to show up on Raw the next day and talk about it.
Right.
Um, Uso had that moment. So it doesn't have to be a big moment for him. He can just win it. So it works a little bit better for him.
Right.
Um, but the story that they were telling, I really liked where they were going with this Jay and Jimmy story. I really like what they're doing there.
Right.
And it makes me wonder, is Jimmy getting his moment? Like, is Jimmy going to get his push here? Is he going to get his shot? And if he is, then I think Jay has to win this match.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a hit. And I don't know if it goes until WrestleMania, but maybe it's the Royal Rumble where we get the blow off between Jay and Jimmy where they get their
The
rematch.
redo.
The redo. I know they both complained about how they were told that day of that they were to get 9 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard Jimmy had an interview on a Cheap Heat podcast last week.
Yeah.
Where he talked about it. Like they were told 9 minutes. And where he was almost like, well, let's just squash me.
Yeah.
Let's just squash it. If we're gonna get 9 minutes, let's just go 5 and finish it. Boom, done.
Yeah.
You know, and so they both have a bitter taste in their mouth. So I know they want a rematch and I know they want to do something better. So I'm gonna say Jay, just because I really like the story that they're telling with Jimmy.
Okay.
Where Jimmy's got a kid on the way, right? He's got a child on the way.
Yep.
You know, he's got an heir, and I'm sure they're waiting to see if it's going to be a boy or not. I don't know. I know he has kids from a previous relationship. I don't know. I think 1 or 2 kids. I think I heard him say. I'm not sure. I don't know if he has a boy already, but I mean, it'd make for a great story if he had an heir on the way, right?
Right.
Like the next tribal chief kind of thing, and now he's going for his moment. I think there's a lot of teeth to the Jimmy story there, where he's been overlooked, where Jay's had the title. Roman obviously had the title. Jay Solo came in, he had the title. You know, his both his brothers have had championships, and he's sitting there like waiting for his turn to have a singles title.
Right.
So I think we're going to pull the Vision away from the world title picture for now. It looks like, and I think I'm going to go Jay wins
Okay.
this match, and he's going to become, like you said, power hungry. He's going to start believing himself as the head of the table, and it's going to cause friction with him and Jimmy, and it's going to lead to a blow off between those two guys.
Let me ask you one thing as we wrap this up. I heard this theory, and I don't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Jay joining the Vision?
No, it doesn't make sense because the Braun Breaker clearly wants to be the man. He wants to be the world heavyweight champion.
That's why he turned, right? But here's what I'm saying. Hear me out.
He's not taking a back seat.
No, I agree. So
It doesn't make sense for him to
hear
take
me
a back
out.
seat.
This is why I say this. And I said, kind of hinges on what happens either way, right? Punk wins. Jay loses his shit. He's irrational. Jimmy can't get to him. Cody can't get to him. Nothing. The wise man can. Those two would be the fastest way to get back to the title. Braun doesn't have to take a back seat because Jay's not the leader. You brought this up. Of all the things that we've talked about the Vision, you said you preferred to see by default that Heyman should be the leader of the Vision. Well, if he recruits somebody and sells it, and now you're seeing him make these backdoor deals with people and trying to set this up just to keep surviving each week and saving his ass, then he's covered all the way around. Because I've also heard that wouldn't it make sense to go crazy and bring Brock back as a new leader of the Vision? I don't see that. Because to your point, that Breaker has to take a back seat. But if you put Jay in the mix where he's like, fuck it, if you can't beat them, join them. They're the guys that are headed for the future. They're the guys that are going to be around and they want to take everybody out. I'm good with that. And I don't got to listen to any of them. All I got to do is just be a part of this and trust myself and go. Now it gives him something to do with Jimmy. Now it gives him, you turned your back on me and joined those pricks. It gives him something to do with Roman individually again, because Roman's going to come back and want to deal with them. So now there's an even bigger thing there, because what happens if Roman comes back and that's the moment is that Jay winds up turning on Roman, because we've heard him bitch about Roman the last few weeks. So just in theory, what do you think about adding Jay as part, and only from this part of the equation of who's the future and the now versus who's the guys that have been on top trying to hold down the top spot?
I don't know. I mean, I don't hate it, but I also don't love it.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like a Jay Uso story going forward has anything to do with the Vision. I don't think they're needed to tell his story. I think they're telling a bloodline story.
I
Not
feel
a
like
Vision
you
story.
can turn the Vision into not necessarily a big group, but 3-4 guys that have their own vision.
We
of
haven't
what they
discussed
should be.
the possibility of them coming in and destroying the match.
Right.
Well, I mean, I know Braun Breaker was way too calm on Monday night.
Yeah, about
He
not
was
being involved.
listening about not being involved. What if he shows up on Saturday and says, "Screw this, I'm gonna," and they come in and they just
rips them both apart.
It's a small finish. It rips them both apart. There's no finish to the match.
Yep.
Now the title's still in limbo for a while.
Yeah.
I think I would prefer that. I think a pissed off Jay, a pissed off Punk going after Braun, wanting their title, and then it becomes a triple threat. Yeah, I would go for that. I think I would prefer something like that.
You want to change your pick?
Now I'm gonna pick a winner,
Okay.
but I wouldn't dismiss the possibility of a no contest.
Okay. Well,
I mean, because they're not going to come in and to help one or the other win.
right.
They would come in and destroy both.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know we always like to get into our fantasy booking here and really go crazy with these PLEs and Saturday night main events.
And overthink it. Yep.
And especially these Saturday night main events, right? They've been pretty much cookie cutter.
Yeah. Pretty
finishes,
mild.
Pretty mild. I know that we're looking at least, a couple title changes or one title change, possibly with the women for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that's a 90% certainty.
Mhm.
A new champion here. So there's going to be some movement going on, but and I would love to see that. But at the end of the day, I think they're just going to give the title to one person and then let them and then continue the story on Monday night. So
Yeah.
As much as I would love to see something like that, because I'm trying to think. They come out. Does Roman show up? And does Brock come out? I don't know. I mean, is this where you set up a War Games match? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's
Where
another
just
thing.
people start coming in out of nowhere to fight, to take a side, and everybody's just involved, and it's a big old mosh, and and then they have no champion, and then they just hold it up for a while, and Pierce says, I'm going to name 2 MVPs of War Games, and those 2 MVPs are going to get a chance at the title afterwards. I don't know.
Something. It's something. Well, we'll see how it goes this Saturday night's main event in Utah.
By the way, I'm getting a little PLE sickness here. I haven't watched the last 2 PLEs. I didn't watch WrestlePalooza because I don't have ESPN. I didn't watch
NXT's Halloween Havoc.
no, what was the other one?
Oh,
after
Wrestle Dream from AEW.
No, the Crown Jewel. I didn't watch Crown Jewel.
Yeah. Crown Jewel.
And I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, oh, I'll watch Saturday night's main event. Well, guess what? I don't have anymore.
Peacock.
I don't have Peacock anymore. I got rid of it. I thought it was going to be on NBC.
Wait a minute. Basketball's back. Why do you not have Peacock back?
Because their basketball games are on NBC right now. I haven't had to get Peacock yet. They're on NBC.
They should be anytime.
Yeah, so I might have to. Well, here's the thing. I'm not watching it live. I already know that.
Yeah,
I got booked.
Yeah,
I got double booked. My wife double booked me for Saturday night.
Busy.
I'm not going to be home.
Busy.
Yeah, but so I'm not going to watch it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to spend the money yet. On Peacock. I'll spend it later. So but I'm getting I'm starting to miss it. You know what I mean? Like the idea of just sitting down and watching a PLE. Like once you miss a couple of them, and now I know I'm missing this 3rd major show, I'm like, I better be ready. I better be watching ESPN on, by the time Survivor Series rolls around. Otherwise, I'm doing something wrong as a wrestling fan.
Fair enough. Well, we gave you our predictions. We gave you our thoughts on the things that aren't going to happen at Saturday night's main event. And we even gave you a little bit of AEW this week. So there's a little bit of everything this week. And it was even women's wrestling heavy. Something a little different. So, as always, what do you have to tell the people?
R.I.P. Tommy Dreamer.
R.I.P. Tommy Dreamer. Hey, shout out David. Haven't seen him in a minute, but we know what's about to start with his second job.
We're not gonna see David for a while unless we go see him inside a basketball gym. So good luck to him. I know. I think it's not. I don't think official practice starts just yet. I think maybe Monday, but
right around the corner.
Good luck to David. I know basketball season is rolling right around the corner for him. I'm waiting for football season to end so I can start my. I guess at this point it's gonna be winter baseball for a couple of weeks before we go into. For a month before we go into Christmas break and then come back in January. So I know baseball will be picking up here pretty soon for me.
Busy times. Busy times. Well, we appreciate you all for listening. Please make sure that you like and subscribe on YouTube. As always, so you can get these as soon as they drop. And we will see you with the fallout from Saturday night's main event on the next episode of the Grab a Hold podcast.